Okay, we are about to go live on Facebook. That way, it's easier to set it up, even though we're a little early. So for those of you who are just joining us on Facebook, we'll get started right at 1 p.m. So just kind of sit tight for right now, and make sure to spread the message to all of your friends that we're currently live streaming. So we'll get started at 1 p.m. So just kind of sit tight for right now. Again, for those who are joining us via Facebook Live, we'll get started at right at 1 o'clock. So just kind of sit tight for right now.
Hello. So I have a question about the Facebook Live thing. Do people on Facebook Live see all the people on Zoom?
If you're talking, they do.
Okay, but so they only see the person who's talking, they don't see the whole gallery?
Correct.
Okay, I'm just curious because the more I Zoom and do these online things, it's pretty fascinating what we're doing. So
As far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure that they only see. I'm waiting for it to switch over now that we're talking. I'm pretty sure they only switch to the person who's actually talking. But
okay.
since we're in Zoom, you can see the gallery.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Again, for those of you who are joining us on Facebook Live, just kind of sit tight for right now. We'll get started in a couple of minutes. All right, Lisa, I think we are recording. We are live on Facebook, so I think we are good to go whenever you are ready.
Okay, excellent. All right. And everyone can hear me okay? All right. All right. Bear with me. This is my first time actually teaching on Zoom, but I'm definitely excited to try it. And thank you all for joining. My name is Lisa, and I am a teacher at Access Arts. And Brandon mentioned that there might be people that are watching who aren't from Columbia or aren't from Missouri. So just if you're curious, I'm coming live to you from Columbia, Missouri, right in the middle of the state. Again, I'm a teacher at Access Arts, but we unfortunately haven't been able to have classes. So it's really nice to see all of you and be able to teach and talk to you guys a little bit while we're all stuck at home. What I wanted to do with you guys today is sort of a quick lesson on how you might get started drawing at home. And Michelle, did you have a question, Michelle?
Oh, no, sorry. I was just waving at Jenny.
Oh, sorry. Hello. So what I want to do is talk to you about getting started drawing at home. The really great thing about drawing is that it's for absolutely everybody, no matter what your skill levels are. If you're someone who practices drawing regularly in a sketchbook, if you haven't drawn anything since you were in school, it's for everybody, and it requires minimal supplies, right? So it's something really great that we can do at home. And I'll sort of get into it a little bit more as we keep going, but in my personal opinion, 90% of learning how to be quote unquote good at drawing is just through practice. And that's why I believe it's for everybody, because all you need is some paper and a pencil and something to look at to draw, and you're able to practice and get better. But with that in mind, I wanted to talk to you first about creating a little sketchbook at home. I always like to have some sort of designated sketchbook for drawing. Again, it's good to build that daily practice. And if you have sort of a special sketchbook or a special journal that you know you're going to draw in every day, I think it sort of keeps you accountable. Again, I'm aware that everybody is at home, so you can make a sketchbook with really simple supplies. And I just wanted to show you a few of those. I prefer just plain white paper, right? It could be out of a drawing sketch pad that you have. It could be computer paper, right? But I would encourage all of you to make your own sketchbook for your daily practice. But I just wanted to kind of show you just really simple steps to make your own sketchbook, right? So let's say I have some plain computer paper. I always like to fold that in half. I would suggest maybe not more than 4 or 5 sheets. Only because when you put it together, it's going to be kind of hard when you're punching holes or you're stapling it. But just take that computer paper, fold it in half. And again, all of us sort of have different tools at home. I don't have like a regular hole punch, but what I did realize that I have is one of these handy 3-hole punches. So that's what I did on this sketchbook here, is I just punched my 3 holes, and then I just found some embroidery thread. You could use any sort of yarn or thread that you have hanging around and just bind it together, right? Another super easy thing, if you don't have access to a hole punch, is you can just staple your sketchbook, right? These don't have to be anything fancy. But again, I think it's nice to have your own personal sort of space to do these drawing exercises. So I could just really easily staple that sketchbook. If you want to get really fancy and you have the materials around, you could also make yourself a cover for your sketchbook, right? So I just found some brown paper laying around, and I already stapled this, but you want to just make sure that that cover is slightly bigger than your computer paper or the same size. Right, and you can make yourself a nice little cover. I would also suggest decorating this however you want, right? I can't stress enough to make it sort of personal and special, and it's something that you want to go back to every day and draw in, right? I think I mentioned that we're going to do another session, but this would be a really great thing to have done when we meet next time, is to have a little sketchbook done, and we'll talk to you about some exercises that you can do in your sketchbook too. All right. But again, just really simple way to make your sketchbooks. All right. The next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is what to draw. Now, of course, you can draw anything in front of you, right? It's been really beautiful outside. You can go outside as well. But I wanted to talk to you specifically about making your own still life. A lot of artists, especially when they're doing quick sketches and quick exercises, like to have some sort of still life set up in front of them that can stay there, right? So they can go back to it over time, right? And keep drawing it and sort of see how things change and move. And also you can see how your drawings improve too. If you, let's say you draw the same still life for a week, right? You can kind of see how your drawings change and progress over that week. Right. And again, we're at home. These still lifes don't have to be anything fancy. And the fun thing about it too is it's going to be individual and unique for everybody, because it's the things and objects that you already live with and that you have around your home. But what I wanted to do is, if I can, I wanted to kind of maneuver my computer here to sort of show you. Hopefully you can see here just some objects that I have set out. Whenever I create a still life, I always want to sort of vary my objects and my materials. I always like to think about different textures that I can combine in a still life. I always want to think about different colors. Yes, we'll probably be drawing more with like pencil and things like that. So color isn't as important right now, but if you want to do colored pencils or pastels or things, you want to think about varying your colors. You want to think about varying the size of objects and also sort of changing the height of objects as well. So if you can kind of see, I just grabbed some stuff from around my house. I've got some paint brushes. They're kind of nice because some of them are taller and some of them are shorter. I've just got a pin cushion. I also have plants all around my house, and plants always add a nice texture, right? I've got this funky little cactus. Another plant with sort of some different texture here. And I also mentioned that you like to think about having different heights of your still life as well. So I actually just grabbed out an old like Christmas tin, and I thought that that could provide some different height on my still life. So this is totally up to you what objects you choose and how you arrange them. But I was just gonna sort of arrange these for you real quick, and then we can do a quick drawing exercise too. Another thing that's always kind of nice is to have some sort of fabric or material. It's always something nice to draw when it sort of folds and drapes over something. So I just grabbed an old pillowcase out of my laundry room. So again, I've got like that tin. Maybe I can drape my pillowcase over top of it. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Play around with a little bit, move objects around. Something else that's really nice to raise things up is just some books, right? So if you have some books laying around, that'll create some different sort of levels. What you really want to do is just make this setup visually interesting and sort of enticing, and you want to keep yourself interested in what you're drawing, right? So maybe I'll stick my plant, kind of blocking your view, huh? You guys can kind of see that. Maybe I'll put my plant up top. Maybe my paintbrush is over here. And maybe this guy here. I know it's kind of looks busy because I have other things in the background, but that's kind of a nice, simple still life that you can set up. I would suggest finding a spot in your house and finding objects that you can have set up for a while. Again, that way you can see how your drawings change over time, and there's a designated spot where you don't have to set it up every single day. Something else to keep in mind when it comes to your still life is what light is casting on it. Right now I have really nice sunshine shining on my objects, which I love, but keep in mind that that light is going to change throughout the day, which could be really interesting, and you might want to experiment with that, maybe drawing in the morning and drawing in later in the afternoon and seeing how the light changes. But keep in mind that it will change, and where your shadows and your highlights are will change throughout the day. So you might want to also consider setting up your still life somewhere where you can also use artificial light, right? Maybe a light shining on top of it or off to the side. That will keep the light more consistent. And also, of course, then you can draw in the evenings, right? When you don't have that nice bright sunshine coming in. Right. So that's just a little bit on getting your still life set up. And the last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is an easy drawing exercise to get started. This is, when I mean get started, I mean this could be every single time you sit down to draw. Even if you plan on having a long drawing session, let's say you want to sit down for 30 minutes or an hour and draw, I always encourage my students to start with exercises. It's a good way to wake up your hand. It's a good way to wake up your eyes and that eye-hand coordination. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get situated here that maybe you can see both my drawing and what I'm doing. But this first exercise, and maybe some of you have done this before, it is called a blind contour drawing, right? And the name pretty much implies what it is. It is quote unquote blind because what you try to do is you try to not look down at your paper at all while you're drawing. So that's why it's called a blind contour drawing. And then contour basically means the outline of things. So you don't want to worry at all about light and dark, about shadows and highlights. You just want to focus on the outline of objects, right? And also blind contour drawings are typically quick. Again, they're a way for you to get your hand warmed up. Just like anybody who goes out for a jog or does yoga or any other sort of exercise, you need to start warming up your muscles, right? So this is a great exercise to get your sort of drawing muscles warm and ready to go, right? But so again, the main things you want to try to do, and these are going to be quick drawings, like I said, you want to try not to look down at your paper at all while you're drawing. It is so hard. So if you accidentally slip and you look at your paper, it's totally okay. What I've told students to do in the past too, let me see if I can sort of angle it here, is if you have your sketchbook, for instance, maybe you flip it and you draw on the second page of your sketchbook, right? And put your hand in here and you sort of use your cover as your sort of blinder, right? For those of you that might remember typing, I remember in like elementary school, we learned to type and we had to put a little cover over our keyboard so we wouldn't cheat by looking, right? This is sort of that same idea. But again, so number one, you want to try not to look down at your paper at all while you're drawing, and you want to just focus on the outlines. And I don't always stick to this rule, but oftentimes people, when they do blind contour drawings, will not lift up their pencil at all while they're drawing as well. I think this is sort of an important rule only because you're not looking down at your paper. And if you're not looking at it and you lift up your paper, your pencil, you don't know where to start again, right? So I guess those are sort of the three main rules for this exercise. You don't want to look down at your paper at all. You want to just focus on the outlines of what you're drawing. And you don't want to try not to lift up your pencil or pen while you're working, all right? And I think I'm just going to do a quick one of these for you guys right now, just so you can kind of see what this ends up looking like. And I cannot stress to you enough, this is going to feel so silly to you. It's going to feel so counterintuitive to what you're probably used to doing when you're drawing, but that's good because again, what you're doing is you're training your eye to focus on what's in front of you, and you're training your eye to then communicate that to your brain and communicate that directly to your hand. It's sort of like a trust exercise where you have to trust that your eye is relaying the information to your hand. And again, these can be really quick. Here, I'll sort of angle down here. But I'm just going to do this real quick. These can be really quick, like a minute or less. You can draw your whole still life, or you can just focus on one area if you'd like as well. All right, so again, I'm moving my eye around this object, and what should be happening is your eye should sort of be tracing the object and moving in the same motion and direction as your hand. Again, I'm trying my hardest not to look down and to not lift up. In this case, I'm using a Sharpie just so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, let me just show you guys this so you can see how silly it looks, all right? So what I was drawing is this pin cushion, all right? They're gonna look silly and they're gonna look funky. It's okay to laugh at yourself and to laugh at your drawing. But again, it's all about building that hand-eye coordination. And it's a way to warm up your eyes and your hand before you get started on a bigger drawing. All right. So that's what I wanted to show you guys today and talk to you about. My hope is that our next session will delve into drawing the still life more and spending a little bit more time. But what I would love for you guys to do between now and then is to find yourself a designated sketchbook or make one like I showed you guys. If you want to put a cover on it and you want to decorate it, that would be awesome as well. I would encourage you to find some objects around your house to set up a simple still life. And then I would encourage you to at least try this blind contour drawing. All right. I would absolutely love to see if you guys tried this and you want to post pictures on that Facebook thread where this video is live streaming right now on Facebook. Again, they're going to be silly, so don't be embarrassed. And that's why I wanted to do it for you guys first, so you kind of feel more comfortable when your drawings end up a little bit silly. But yeah, and then next time we will focus more on spending a little bit more time on our drawings once you guys have your sketchbooks and your still life set up. All right. Does anyone on here have any questions for me? All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you taking the time and for being patient with me on my first video. Right. And I hope that you come back next time and you guys try some of these before we meet next time.
Looking forward to seeing everybody's drawings next week. Nobody gets out of it.
Yes, me too.
All right, I'm gonna stop the recording. I'm gonna stop us on